Students at English language CEGEPs in Quebec have to fulfill new French requirements under Bill 96. And members of Indigenous communities say it's adding to the struggles their students already face.
Some of them, French is their third language, and they chose to come to an English CEGEP, and these additional requirements are proving to be a big threat.
Starting this fall, new students at English language CEGEPs will have to start taking up to 3 program courses in French or 3 French as a second language courses. Students who started last year who weren't eligible to attend English elementary or high schools also have to take the French exit exam. The directors of 5 English CEGEPs penned a letter to the Premier saying the law creates systemic and discriminatory barriers.
And I feel like as I'm learning more, I'm forgetting my own language.
Indigenous students also spoke out in this video released by Dawson College.
So they have to swallow the adaptation from coming from up north, living in the city, living on their own. Sometimes they're 17 years old.
There are a few exceptions to these requirements. Indigenous students can avoid the French exit exam, but they have to fill out a form and meet certain criteria. They include having a status card, having lived on a reserve, and having studied English or an Indigenous language for at least a year. The province also says that if an Indigenous student is only a beginner in French, the extra language courses will be at their level. Some say that still isn't good enough.
Many Indigenous people are non-status, because of the Indian Act and their colonial policies that dictate who is considered Indigenous. Now we are just forced to exclude our non-status brothers and sisters.
But the province says it doesn't plan to add any further exemptions.
We don't want to discourage anybody going in higher education. That's why we've made this adjustment. That's why we made this regulation, and I think it's pretty reasonable.
I know accessibility to higher education is a problem, and it's something that we really want them to succeed.
The higher education minister says she does plan to clarify the rules with English CEGEPs. Meanwhile, 2 First Nations groups are already challenging the law in court and say they aren't backing down.